So I guess we can go ahead and start. SP is our co-lead for today's meeting, so I will turn it over to SP to do the welcome and introductions.
Hello, I apologize for going in and out. I just flew in from Orange County and we had a big win over there against Poseidon. We've been part of that fight for the last couple of years. And so we stopped all of the build out of that desal plant along with the other environmental justice groups. And so I apologize for like I said, in terms of driving back from the airport to Stockton. And but welcome, and we have some ideas that we want to share. Thank you for taking the time today so that we can review that, and hopefully you all will be able to provide some input as far as some other future events. But I think that some of the tools that we're going to talk about today will be helpful for us to be able to continue to do our outreach that we have. And with that, I'll pass it back to Juan.
Thank you, SP, and thank you everyone for joining today's meeting. So let's begin with the conversation. So the purpose of today's meeting is obviously to continue the conversation around some outreach strategies to keep promoting the Burn Cleaner program within the Stockton AB 617 community. I'll just go briefly over the agenda. We're going to start with the review of action items from the previous meeting, and I will be providing a brief update and the status on each of those. We will then continue to the discussion on outreach methods to promote the Burn Cleaner program. And just like SP said, I think this is a great opportunity for us as a group to really dive a little bit more into the conversation on how can we get the word out there. After that, we're gonna finalize the meeting with next steps by selecting the next date and time for our next meeting. So does anybody have any questions on the agenda before we move on to the next item? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go on to our next agenda item, which is the review of action items from the previous meeting. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll go over those together. Is everybody able to see my screen? Perfect. Okay, so let's begin with the first item on the list, which is the Air District will update Stockton Burn Cleaner flyer, update to say Southwest Stockton, and add QR code to check boundary. We were responsible to do that, and it has been completed. Second action item is when finalized, the Air District will post Stockton Burn Cleaner flyer to the Stockton Outreach Resources page. That has already been completed as well and can be found within the Stockton Outreach Resources page. Next action item, when finalized, the Air District will mail Stockton Burn Cleaner flyers to Leonard. A total of 50 flyers per Leonard's request was sent to him. And then additionally, per Margots' request, we also send her another package with the same amount of flyers for her to distribute within the community. The next action item is Air District will research feasibility of adding Burn Cleaner mailers to utility bills. That has been completed, and as we move on along the conversation in the next item, Jonathan is going to provide a brief update on the city's response to that inquiry. The next action item is Air District will update community event tracker and post to the Stockton Outreach Resources page. It has been updated and has been completed and also found within the Stockton Outreach Resources page. And the last action item is Subcommittee can continue to add to community partner contact list for potential outreach opportunities. This is something in progress, and I guess this is a great opportunity to remind the group and invite them to keep adding to that network contact list. Any organizations or agencies that you consider could support the outreach efforts of the group, that would be amazing. So I will be sharing the links to the partner contact list briefly, and so Those are all of the action items that we need to report on. And with this, I will turn it over now to SP, who's going to walk us through the next agenda items. SP, can you hear us?
Okay, so here in terms of I'm sorry, like I said, I'm trying to go back and forth on this. I thought I was going to get in earlier, but my flight was delayed. Okay, so in terms of the discussion on our outreach materials, what we talked about is some of the needs that we had based on the different events that we've already had, with the different areas in the community. So, for example, Jonathan had a really good boundary map at Earth Day, but like if we can get that, printed out and laminated, and we can have a couple of copies, and that way we can utilize them for sure. We're going to have, events that are coming up besides the ones that we have already on our community tracker. So that would be helpful. And then maybe like a pop-up and a banner as well, because we're tabling and we can have all of that set up so to attract people over besides whatever we have promotional materials. I'm going to follow up with the contact at Univision to try to have a public service announcement in Spanish, because that area that we're servicing, there's a lot of Spanish speaking, and also to try to see if we can get in with one of the reporters there that covers like special items, and then this would be like one that I think they would cover, because it's like it's local, but then at the same time it's statewide, so it would be something that they would be interested in. The Cal Water mailer campaign. So what happened is the city of Stockton is not able to do like a stepping into the utility bill. So I'm going to follow up with the manager at Cal Water and see if she will do that for us. And I will let you all know, but that's a way to specifically outreach to our members where they, might not toss it. And so in terms of the cost effectiveness of that as well. In terms of the data collection that we've had from the targeted outreach from the different events, I'm going to be providing the ones that we have. And then Jonathan, if you could provide the folks that are interested on your behalf, and we could submit those, and we could start keeping track of that, so that we could see how many people we're outreaching to. And especially because the amount of funds that we have are limited, and we can develop how it is that we're going to follow up with them. So that's what the data collection component is about. And then that goes hand in,
Before you move on to the next item, I think it'll be great to hear from Jonathan. He's actually supported myself reaching out to the city of Stockton, and so obviously it sounds like they are not able to work with us on that particular idea. But I would really like to hear from Jonathan if that's possible, on what the response from the city would be was actually.
Okay.
So I found out, remember how the city of Stockton has that sort of, that LED billboard, not billboard, it's like an LED sign that's usually in front of City Hall. Totally forgot about that. And I guess it makes sense as to why I forgot about it. It has never worked in a long time. But an alternative that Susan Christie from the Public Works mentioned was to possibly post it on their website itself, or on their sort of calendar themselves that they have. Let's see what else they said. She did talk about sort of traditional press releases that would go in the inserts of the newspaper. Talked about monthly magazines, which is, totally fine. Lincoln Center, I know some folks probably wouldn't even read that anyway. some of this other stuff we kind of already know. She talked about drop-off points at libraries, community youth centers, gyms and stuff. We kind of know about that. But she talks about when you want to put signs in actual parks, that they really do not recommend taping things on the poles. And I think that's pretty critical. It's a good feedback, because I was actually going to do that. But I did not want us to get in trouble, so I don't want to see in trouble. So I'm glad she was able to let us know that they really do not recommend taping things randomly on things without any consent. That's it that she has for, but the one that they do recommend is there is one at Delta College, the signage at Delta College. I'm not entirely sure how that signage works at Delta College. Has the Valley Air District ever used that sort of way before? I know 411 has been used for that for a while. So it's a very heavily trafficked area, but I'd like to see anybody's thoughts on that.
This Heather, I'm just going to jump in. No, we haven't, but I will commit to investigating what it takes to get on that.
Cool, thank you, Heather. That's it for me on that end, but I did want to share with you guys, this is what we were talking about for the printer, the printed thing.
Yeah.
I just customized it. It's, what is it? 36 by 24. The QR code is a closer view. So unfortunately, I don't believe it was a QR code that was on the flyers itself, the AB 617 flyers itself. But this is the one where they can view it closely and then from there. But I think we could change this, like change it to be the AB 617, the one that's the one-stop shop sort of thing, if that's what we think could be an option.
I think that the QR code, yeah, Jonathan, because we want to capture like them coming in and not just looking at the map, but we also want them to like opt in. And that way they can, continue to get information, and it'll make it real simple and easy. And so the map that you have like that is good. I just wanted to see so we could put it on something like that's a little bit sturdier, and that way we can utilize it at all our events and just have like a couple of copies going. I know for sure we're going to need it, and then you usually use it as well, and then anyone else that needs it, we could just have some on hand. I don't know if you want to have them at your office. I can have some at my office, and that way people could pick them up when they need to for events. I wouldn't mind doing that. So
Great. And I see Margot's hand. Margot, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was really sorry to hear that Cal Water insert won't work. And I understand it's not a city function, I guess. But what about the city does send out billing for trash and sewer and such. Would the city be amenable to that?
No, they said they no longer allow outside people using their things for messaging.
And we're considered outside people.
Yes. So they said they spoke with their public information officer and said they no longer have the ability to include inserts in our billing mailings.
Wow.
So wasn't it like reverse, right, that we were talking about, Jonathan, that like the city had said no on that one, but we were going to ask Cal Water?
Correct.
Or did you ask Cal Water?
We were going to ask Cal Water. She, I guess, was also trying to find out about PG&E, and she says PG&E hasn't in the past several years done any inserts other than themselves. We aren't able to insert with Cal Water service anymore either. But maybe
Okay.
SB, if you have an in with Cal Water, maybe that's a better strategy.
Yeah, I can go ahead and follow up with the manager and then see. They've been sponsoring the hackathon for the past, 5+ years. So I could ask and see what they say. And then
I think we can figure it out. I mean,
Good. And I see Heather's hand.
I noticed that, I've forgotten now what it was, but locally, the city of Fresno created I want to say it was a survey, a COVID survey. I'm actually not positive what it was, and I probably should call them to see how effective it was. However, they created a survey, made a huge banner, and had 3 different QR codes on this banner. And just a brief introduction of what they were after listed on the banner. And they attached those banners at all their main parks where there was traffic. And the city did it. And it's not paper. And I 100% agree they would kill us if we did this, stick it and tape it and post it on poles and on things. But anyway, worth investigating if you do have that into the city and or the parks concept. Maybe we come up with a concept where we could erect a banner. Just a thought. It looked awesome, but now that I say that out loud, I wonder how many people actually scanned the QR code and how much feedback the city got. I'll investigate.
Thank you, Heather.
That would be effective, Heather, like especially like for Victory Park in certain locations. So I did some of the ground truthing when we did the initial outreach. So I think that would work. And even for areas that are trafficked and that might be private, but we can ask them where we have a lot of people in terms of like the crowd canvassing areas.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a mock-up or anything like that you can maybe show the outreach committee of what it looks like, and that would be
I might have taken a picture. I am gonna look right now, see if I have it.
okay.
Douglas.
I agree with Jonathan and Melanie about regarding the traffic area, because I know that Stockton they have a lot of picture. I think there's a billboard right by the General Hospital as well, and also there's another one right by 99 by the airport. So you could cover all around all aspects of the area. Okay, so one on the southeast side and one on the west side. So thank you.
One thing I would have as a question was, Brianna, over at Public Health, do you guys, is there a lot of traffic when it comes to clients?
Not very much, to be honest. We do get some traffic when we have our car seat installations on Wednesdays for our car seat program, but not very much. It has been picking up a little bit, but maybe we get 1 to 2 per day, the most.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's sort of like a way to share everyone that's involved in this, even in this meeting, to where to place flyers at their location so that people can see them. Margot, for instance, you would be able to share through Sierra Club and the congregations you guys are part of, and they will share with their friends and things. But thinking with Public Health, how can
Yeah, I think we could definitely take some flyers. I know our Black Infant Health program, they have recently started their classes back up. So they do get a lot of clients there for their program. Okay. So yeah, we can definitely take some flyers here and our programs can give them out to their clients.
Yeah, that'd be great. Would they need, is it more like we hand them off, or would they need an actual, like, would it be great to have an actual, I guess no, that would kind of take time. Never mind. I guess we just provide.
Can I interrupt real quick, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Not to interrupt your flow of thought, but I want to make sure Douglas realizes that Mark has arrived. Thank you so much, Mark. Yay. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Great. Glad it worked out. So there wouldn't be a need for prior training. It would just be a more sharing out the flyers, and then hopefully from there they would be able to give to people.
Yes, that would work.
Yeah. Okay. And Jonathan, on that note, I think it'll be great to get Leonard's input or feedback on this item, because I know he's been distributing flyers out there. So I think it'll be great to hear from him on his experience on that flyer distribution, and if he identifies some potential locations with traffic that would benefit the distribution of the flyers. So Leonard, do you mind sharing some of that experience with the group?
Not at all, Juan. But I want to say hello to everybody. Some of the things we did, I posted online on the Chamber's website, so Chamber members will be able to see it on there. I also left some on the Chamber display out in the hallway, but I took some over to what we call the Ministers Alliance, and this is 39 ministers from local churches, and they're non-denominational, and they have varying sizes of their ministry. And so they have some, they'll pass it out, they put the word out there. Tomorrow, there's Flavor Fest on the 13th and the 14th. I'll be out there and I'll be passing out flyers there. It'll be about 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Also, the African American Chamber went to work with a new member, to Razor Barbershop. It's downtown Stockton, and we passed out flyers there also. That's just some of the places that we passed out flyers.
Leonard, would it be helpful with the Ministers Alliance if they ever wanted sort of like a speaker to provide more deeper information on like how this is very beneficial and things, or do you think just the flyer is enough?
Well, they would welcome a speaker. I mean, if someone can come in and explain things in more detail, that would be perfect. I could set it up, and once you let me know who, I can give you a point of contact, and you can go from there.
What do you think? I mean,
I think that's a great idea in terms of outreach.
I'd be willing to help do the speaking, but I mean, if there's anyone else that feels would be even better, Air District or SB.
Yeah, I mean, if you, I think in terms of like having Air District staff maybe to like help answer any like if specific questions would be helpful.
This is Heather again. Can you give me some clarity? Where would we actually speak? I missed that connection.
But there's a thing called the Ministers Alliance, and they meet once a month, and they meet at one of the churches.
Got it. Yeah, that's definitely something that we would do. The speaking engagements and the broad-based information sharing, 100%, especially if we can just like lock in a time or a Zoom meeting or something. Expect to plug us into all those types of things. It's more you guys are the boots on the ground. Leonard's been walking and handing out flyers. It's a good sort of relationship if we do it that way.
Yeah, Leonard, if you can get that set up.
Yeah, send us the info, please.
Okay.
Nate, you're involved in a lot of things. You're involved in the downtown stuff. Are there businesses or anything that would like to have speakers come in?
Well, okay, so they have the Downtown Comeback Club meets every Thursday morning at a downtown restaurant, and we'll always take speakers for just about anything that's civic minded or especially about downtown Stockton. And then I'm also the incoming board chair for the Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce. So they have monthly business mixers the fourth Thursday of every month, where it's a great place to network. Then that's usually a local business with usually refreshments, and usually the last 3 mixers we've had an average of 75 people show up. The last one was at the Hatch on Union Street, and sometimes even depending on the situation, a vendor can show up. I'm also involved with peer recovery services with the Wellness Center located on California Street, which is now independent, but a sort of cooperative partner with the San Joaquin Department of Public Health. And for example, they have a outdoor barbecue next Thursday morning afternoon on California Street near Magnolia, I believe. So yes, if information came to me, if somebody sends me a question by email or text, I could probably refer you to a meeting somewhere with someone that if you could do outreach.
This is Heather again. Nate, what if we mail you a pack of flyers too? Like if you're headed to that mixer that was next Thursday, you said, and if can you deliver and be our front runner to get some materials to those places?
Yes.
If you're going to be there?
I also have distributed materials for the Friends of the Fox to places like Terra Coffee, The Well.
All good.
Other
So
places
we need
like
to send
that.
you a packet.
So yes, I'll have to provide you folks. I'll put my my mailing address up on the chat here, and then you guys could mail me stuff whenever you want.
Awesome.
Also, on some of these things, I'll scan them into my computer and put them as an attachment on my Comeback Club weekly email that goes out. I have a weekly email that goes out on Wednesday afternoon about 3 or 4 o'clock. It goes out to over 200 email addresses. And so if it's relevant to Stockton, and particularly downtown Stockton, and especially if it's a nonprofit thing or a civic minded thing, I'll scan those things in and attach them and put them as attachments to my emails.
We'll do one better. We'll just email it to you so you don't have to scan it.
Well, yeah, if you send me something by email that I can save to my computer, then I don't have to scan it, right?
Awesome.
But yes, I'll put in my name and address, my text phone number, so you could text me about something coming also.
Awesome.
When you use my phone, it's best to text me first so I know who you are, because about 70% of my calls are junk calls. But yeah, I'll type that in right now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. That's definitely great to know. And this goes out to the rest of the team. If you want and need flyers for distribution, we're more than happy to send those over to you. Just let us know how many you need, and we'll be happy to get those out to you.
I should also mention that I work with SB at the over at the EJCW on the Miracle Mile. So if for some reason someone can't mail something, but they're in the Miracle Mile, they could drop materials off with me and SB there on the Miracle Mile on I think it's 247 Doris Place is the actual address. But if you want to get something to me specifically, though, you can leave it at the EJCW and I'll get it.
Good to know. Thank you, Nate. And then I see Jonathan's hands up.
Yes, just a question for, I guess, us all together. When it comes to contact information from people, putting it all in a database, but also being mindful of like who has view of that information, how do we want to go about that? Because we already have one group, one like stakeholder group, but now what about actual residents itself?
The data we're collecting from the residents, you mean, like from all our events? Is that what you're talking about, Jonathan?
Yeah.
This must be. Yeah, I think like how you're saying, we need to maintain that because that's like information on the residents as they're opting in. And so, if they do the QR code, and if they're not doing like a sign up sheet like we had previously, then it's going straight to the air district. So you're saying, so like when they report back and then to see how many people are signing up for what programs? Is that what you're talking about, that maintenance of that data information?
If you see, this is just one group of the Earth Day people. Yeah. Hector has another clipboard of these. And these people were interested, but they were quickly wanting to sign up for the stuff. They did old school wise. So should I just already integrate their name into the thing, or no? Should I give them an email and let them know, hey, use a QR code, do this thing, or will that kind of not get them motivated to do it?
I've got a question and an idea. This is Heather. Jonathan, the information you've got on that spreadsheet right there, does that have all the basic, does it check the basic boxes? Do we have like their
they are
email?
They are all in the AB 617 boundary zone.
And we have their email and their phone number?
Exactly.
And their name?
Yep.
I'm wondering if does anybody have like an intern or some, we just need a data entry body. I think if we took your spreadsheet and did the work, made the connection to the QR code, pull that webpage up and take all of those and put them in there, we will have a collective file that gets created on our end, and we can send you updates and share that Excel doc with whomever. That's what comes out of that QR code link. So I think we just need some data entry at this point to get all those people you vetted into that thing.
Yeah, so Tanisha, my program specialist, has done that already. So it is all on the Excel sheet.
Stockton AB 617 thing? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, not it just within internally, but we.
Okay, but it would be a quick, step
Yeah.
to get it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like it. I
Okay.
dropped that URL in the chat too, that you need for your next QR code. Yeah. Okay.
So this is SB, my sign-in sheet from previous events, because of the fact that we were at like Tune In, Tune Up event and the other events. They did just like their name and their email, or name and their sometimes they're a little hesitant about the address part. And so so then it was email or phone number. So we can with the email part of it, what I was thinking is if we gave you the email and then they got a response from you all to make it like official, like, you know, here's the information, and then they can opt in, like, you know, with the QR code, what have you, and we could do like a response from the district in English and Spanish, because a lot of ours were Spanish speaking. So very different crowds, right? You know, from Tune In, Tune Up to the Earth Day. And so I could follow up with that, and then whatever we need to do on our end, we can help with it. But so yeah, there's going to be like, you know, different types of ways of signing people up, because we have that issue with a lot of the campaigns that come up. There's just people who will opt in and some people who won't necessarily, but they still want the information. So ours is a little bit different, and we also have quite a bit in terms of signups. And that being said, so that's perfect. Like what you answered that question, Heather, about sharing back the information then of whom we're you know, how many people we're outreaching to. The other thing is, like right now, when we were talking about where we're going and dropping off flyers, etc., is are we going to be keeping track of that on that community tracker, or are we going to do another I know that's not on the agenda, so maybe we could table that so we could get through everything, but basically like how we're going to keep track of where we're outreaching to, because the ground truthing that I said that like we had already done, I could share some of those locations that we know for a fact there's a lot of foot traffic, that we could have those banners up that will help, you know, just continue to get that message across. And then we could share that, you know, I think like how we have the community tracker or something like that, you know, share it on there so that way people know, okay, that banner's up. And, you know, we've already gotten permission and I placed it on X date. So that was a follow-up question to your
Speaking
banner
of the
idea.
banner, here I found the photo. Can you all see that?
Okay.
So it was a resident survey for Measure P here in town, which is a sales tax for park funding. And they had it in English, Spanish, Hmong, and Punjabi. So I'm actually going to follow up and call the city and see what kind of action they got on this. But this is at a city park, you know, on the city backstop, and a city created banner, if you will.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And we'll be able to capture people through the crowd canvassing.
And then Jonathan, if you've already got it in an Excel file, maybe we just combine our Excel files at this point and see what we can't get done and share a collective resource file.
I also wanted to share, I didn't read the whole thing from Susan Christie from the city, but she said from not putting tapes on the parks themselves, maybe you could put signs. And she said, maybe we could work together on a park billboard or something if you want.
Hey, okay.
So maybe that's something in alignment with what we're talking about with what Fresno did.
Yep. Awesome. I like it. And you've already got the contact, even better.
What about the billboards on the sides of buses? For a long time, that was a real visual effort. You can't really, hard to snap a picture of a QR code as it's driving by, but I don't know what the cost is for those, but they're very visible.
Good thought, Margot. They are pretty highly trafficked. Haha, pardon the fun, they're on buses, but agree, it would be probably a direct message. I could see us potentially investing in a static image on the side that you don't necessarily do the QR code, but maybe it's just the ad in general for Burn Cleaner, right? Advertising in general, that there's a lot of money out there to go from your dirty fireplace to a cleaner wood stove, you know, something like that. That's a fixed message where you're not looking for interaction. It's fairly pricey, but it just kind of depends if you wanted to be like on the back of the bus, you know, where the car is standing. I actually think it's better to be on the side, so you get all those eyeballs as it goes by. But something we'll definitely include sort of in the repertoire of investigation we do with the kind of formal outreach we put forth once we, you know, kind of align our direction with what we really want to do. If that makes sense.
How much does it cost for an ad on YouTube?
So that's kind of a really out there question too. It depends on the eyeballs and the type of ad it is, and where you want to be present. I do think that at some level, we would probably consider investing in search engine marketing ads, where people that type Stockton or that type wood burning geographically that live in Stockton, or, you know, you can basically serve up ads based on habits and interactions people do on the web. And I think we'll get to a point where maybe we do some ongoing ads where it's almost subliminal, right? Where that's how it works, right? Who of us have sat here in the day and had a conversation about red gloves, and then we go home and somehow I'm sitting on the computer and there's a red glove ad that night. Works the same way, and we can do some of that too.
Okay.
So can we like maybe add that for our agenda item for our next meeting? And because we also want to we're talking about folks might have additional community events, and then we want to go over the other items. So is that okay if we do continue with that?
Yeah, right. And keep talking about this concept. I do think, I do think we need to sort of get some framework and some specifics on a couple of the programs we want to do. And then you're right, kind of parallel existing is these events and the outreach, and then the continued path. So yeah, of course, whatever you desire. Absolutely.
So in terms of the sign up sheet, like we said, if, you know, for whatever reason at these events that we're having, there's issues with internet or what have you, or people can't, you know, navigate through the QR code, then we wanted to have as a backup the sign up sheet and have the Air District kind of, you know, put, so it's uniform. We're using the same one across the board, because Jonathan had a layout, I had a different layout, and that way it's the same one, and we could just print it when we go to our events and have it as a backup. You know, with the information that we need from the residents that are interested in the programs, because we've run into that situation where sometimes there isn't internet at some of these locations.
Got it.
So if we can get some assistance with that, that would be great. And then that way we could just if Jonathan's doing an event, you know, he could add on his Catholic Charities logo. If I'm doing it, the same thing. So they say, okay, we're working together, we're at this event, and you can opt in to sign up or QR code and sign up online. So that's what that was about in terms of the sign up sheet.
Got it. So I added that on the action items. I'm taking action items down, and I put that as something on us to create, and we can run it by you and see what you think.
The other question that we had was, we were talking about data collection. And so for the people who wanted to opt in, I know that sometimes there's services, and I don't know if the Air District has this, where, you know, they could get a text message to, so they opted in with their phone number and they say, okay, I prefer to get a text message, because a lot of our community members use their phones almost as a computer, right? In that sense. So if you already have a service like that, or as part of the outreach budget that you all have, we could contract a service where they're communicating with you on the text messaging, so that they can get updates as we move along with the different programs, and then with the, you know, the particular one that we're talking about right now. But that way they'll get that message saying, you know, that we have the funds available for them to apply,
Right.
and
Right.
giving them yeah, the link.
Just one additional way to touch base with them if it wasn't an email. And crazy enough, this is the exciting part, although I just don't know how fast we can turn it around. We, the district, adopted a new email communication tool, and we launched it in January of this year. It absolutely has an SMS texting service feature to it. We haven't fully got it off the ground yet. Our initial thought was that we were going to actually build into all the CSC folks, and that we would communicate with our AB 617 bodies via text and appointment reminders and things. But to the same point, SB, if you went right now and signed up for the email listserv on the district's website, it has an option where you can provide your phone number too. So I am thinking out loud here. I'm going to investigate that angle and adding. So like, if you ever have gone to a sort of a more formal listserv anymore these days, when you get to the main login, generally they give you the list in front of you of all the potential things you could sign up for or what you are signed up for. We could create potentially Stockton AB 617 as an SMS text group and capture phone numbers and put them in that way. We could capture them online. Obviously, it doesn't solve the issue that you just described if you're at an event and there isn't internet access. But if you got it on a piece of paper, we could then go back if they, agreed, and we could enter them into that same. Basically, if they sign the piece of paper with the intent of getting updates, then we would go and plug them into that system. So I have a lot of action items today, SB. Jonathan, your hand.
Sorry about that, but yeah, we were just like, as we were going through the process of doing the outreach, we were noticing like, oh, this, these are some of the things that'll facilitate the process, make it run smoother, and we'll be able to collect the data, and we'll get those folks that are interested, because when they see the autos, the electric vehicles we have out there, they see the lawnmower, they immediately like, where do I sign up? And so this will make it cleaner, smoother, and just facilitate the whole entire process for input and output, and make it for the community members, for you all, for us,
right.
Doing the outreach. Okay.
Let's turn over to Douglas.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Douglas. I don't want to.
It's really awesome, encouraging what's going on what's going on right now. I definitely because I didn't know about Fresno thing going on until one mentioned it. I want to know if we could get more. Instead of using like the radio station, because I know they get free. If you're a nonprofit, they allow them timing to go and advertise and give people information, or TV donate hours for, because you're a nonprofit, or I don't know if it's the state or the nonprofit. We get free airtime, something in that area, so we can educate the community as well. I think that's even more broader than just maybe this billboard, but also learn something else that are going to for environmental other cities, so we could travel there or to visit or not. So I think that would be interesting. What do you think, Ernie? What do you think?
You talked about radio stations,
yeah,
right? So I think that's beneficial.
Yes.
And one thing that I heard was that when Valley Air District, you guys were able, was it for free that you guys were able to do a spot on radio stations, or did you have to pay to do a spot?
We've done it both ways. So sort of in general, we work really hard to get some of that, as you call it, a public service announcement generally is just that, right? Not paid for. It is a free mention. And those we used to produce sort of 30-second spots, and every station is obligated to run so many of them. And so they would run them for us. It was great. But it wasn't necessary. It might have been at 2 a.m. It might have been, there was no rhyme or reason. They were just filling their additional airtime with it. I say yes, those are always good. I have a couple of radio group contacts that we can investigate up there, and kind of to SB's earlier comment, anybody that has those, I'm happy to make the calls and try and lean on sort of their community relations folks for messaging. But keep in mind, team, that is broad-based. That's going to be the measure that's just general air quality information, right? We're not telling folks about lawnmowers on that because you're going to hit, 80,000 people, only of which 20,000 could get one kind of a thing. But 100% agree that it's the, hey, did you know there's new air monitor, whatever the messaging is, it's got to be that broad-based stuff if we're going to go to the big stuff, to radio.
It's a good point. I think we just need to be cautious on that at all times. Yeah, we'll have more time in regards to that, but I think if we can coagulate all of that sort of contact.
So just to follow up with that, Heather, then we give you the contact information to help us with the follow-up. To Douglas's point, that's a great idea. And we most definitely, like what Heather is saying, like the general sense, get people going and knowing that AB 617 is happening, right, and they can get further information on it. And as far as the PSA Univision component I was talking about, was to get us a spot so that we can actually talk about it on one of the
a news program, news airtime.
The one that the guy has on, I can't remember the reporter's name, but that way it's very specific, right? Because we're talking about the actual program itself, how to sign up, what have you. And so then that's, people watch that because it's on a Sunday.
You know what? It just occurred to me, SB, I do Community Matters here in Fresno on iHeartRadio, and it goes to 8 radio stations on a Sunday morning. I'm going to call that gal and ask her for her equivalent contact in your footprint up there and see if I can't get that rolling too. That would be radio time, much like what you're describing on TV, but dedicated in a program.
Thank
and
you.
All of those are good. If you've got the personal relationship, lean on it, right? Make the avenue happen. If it's just a contact you've heard or been shared with, by all means, share it with me and I'll investigate.
Okay. And I know we're having a very hearty discussion, but I do want to note that Leonard has given us, he's taking time, and we still have, in terms of community events, and we only have 5 minutes left on the clock, correct? So if, we wanted to move on to that, and then we could put those other items on for our next meeting. And that way we would give opportunity for our community members to give us any updates on community events and select the next date in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I have some community events. There is one that's happening at Brotherhood Park, which is South Stockton. This is happening on May 21st, not 29th, from 11 to 2. This is going to be a resource fair. Really the thing is about public health, and I think this is definitely good for public health. Catholic Charities will be there, and we will share out things. We'll pretty much do the same thing that we did for Earth Day, with the banner and things to get people motivated to sign up and that whole thing. The other event that is coming up is on June 5th. That is a great, glad to see that. June 5th is a resource fair or health fair with Little Manila. They're teaming up with St. George's, that serves a huge group in South Stockton. A lot of residents attend St. George's, and so I have to get more detail from Little Manila on that, but I think it's pretty much going to be a 4 or 5 hour thing. Only one person from Catholic Charities will be there, so I think that would probably be a good idea to have someone else there as well.
Jonathan, this is Juan Luis. What are the hours for that event? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me email
No worries.
DNet.
So while Jonathan does that email, real quick, I added onto the community tracker so that we can have a table we will be at the Stockton powwow, the 41st annual powwow that'll be taking place at the University of Pacific. There are quite a number of folks that come in, local residents to that, specifically it's the Native community. And so we, EJCW, have been the sponsor for their insurance. And we probably will be again this year, but we will be present for that. And then also asking the Air District to participate so that way we can have that, information going back and forth. And there's a flyer that goes along with that for anyone else that's interested. And the contact person for that is Destiny Rivas. So I just wanted to note that we had added that on there. And anything else?
I like that we've got some advance notice on that one. I have on I'll show the action items here in just a second. SB, I've got it down. Are you going to follow up on, or were you asking us to follow up on the investigating the pop-up tent and banner with AB 617 sort of branding? Did you have a contact, or you're just saying we should look into it?
Yeah, I have a contact of the folks that do it for us, so I could definitely coordinate with you.
Okay, I was I don't mean to jump off of events, but when we're done, I will share screen too and run down the quick action items.
Okay. Were there any additional community events?
I don't have an additional event. This is Margot, but we have quite a few events on this list that are coming right up. And how do we make sure they're manned? Like, have we already booked a slot at the county fair? Is that a go or no go? What's the status? And who's handling it?
That one's still pending. This is Juan Luis, Margot. So it's up to the group to decide who wants to take the lead on coordinating those efforts, the logistics, and getting in touch with the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds reps. So that's why I have it as pending right now. So it's up in the air to find out who wants to take the lead on that one. And same goes for the Stockton Juneteenth 2022 event.
You could put me down for San Joaquin County Fair because I can maybe couple that up with our COVID outreach.
Oh, good. You're already going to be there?
Well, no, I like saying I'm going to coordinate it so that way we can be there.
There we go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it would be great to have if Margot of Sierra Club could help join as well. The more the merrier, especially when there's a booth with a good amount of people. A lot more people are willing to come up because it's a good crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if we have all of our banners, swag, and all that, how we coordinate with the Air District, then it's helpful because you're going to have quite a few number of people, like Jonathan's saying, coming in and out. So yeah, I'll coordinate with you all then, Heather, on that one. And
do you know if there's I'm not familiar with that fair. Is there a pretty sizable vendor fee?
I think there might be, but for nonprofits, it might be a little bit different.
Oh, nice.
I would say we could couple it up with our COVID outreach.
Got it. That would be ideal, knowing and just probably recognizing the group itself. I don't know if you guys have the capacity to cover 3 days, right? It would be more like, hey, who can pop over and stand at your COVID table area and hand out, AB 617 flyers for a few hours.
Yeah, exactly. That way, that's why our other banner assistants will facilitate it, because they could just QR code that and then kind of go on. Then that way, it'll make it easier.
Okay.
So do we need to reach out to our membership as a whole and say we have these opportunities? Would you like to stand with us? Because our next meeting for the CSC is on June 1st. Well, these things are coming right up.
Yeah, no, we would individually email everyone. We would have to email the CSC so that they give them a chance to do it, not through the CSC itself. That would be more of a refresher. Hey.
Yeah. As well as Leonard has mentioned the Flavor Fest a couple of times, and that's not on the list. Is that just something that you're doing, Leonard, or is that something that we as a group are doing?
But it's something that the African American Chamber was invited to, and we're going to participate. We're going to be at the main gate. We're going to be signing people, having people, taking people money to come in. But I'm also going to have a booth there. I'm not sure what else had anything to do with it, but they had a lot of participation from a lot of different groups.
And is that tomorrow? Is that what it was?
It's tomorrow and Sunday.
Ah,
And you're taking flyers with you, right, Leonard?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
that's covered.
I see that as probably being our best option for coverage at most of these events, right? Leaning on all of your other connections. In fact, can we give you hundreds so that the chamber just hands them out wherever they go, Leonard?
No,
Do you have enough, Leonard?
I'll know tomorrow. I think I'm gonna hand out as many as I can. I may run out. I mean, if you can send more, you can send more. As far as the Juneteenth is concerned, I'll be there also. And if you want me to hand out some flyers, something there, I could hand those out too.
That's why we're trying to make sure, we think it's better to have a full, like a poster board that you can use all the time.
Okay.
At
Yeah.
all times, so that everyone would be able to switch off and take in. I mean, I'm all the way in Vacaville, but we can drop off to have someone at Catholic Charities, even at the thing, and pick those up, or just have everyone else just share it around.
Right. Okay.
Well, if we have like, I know we're going overtime right now, but I had also offered, and what Nate was saying is that right there on the Miracle Mile, we can have, flyers, extra flyers. We could have like some of the banners. That's why we can work with Heather to see how many we need, constantly flowing. So that way people can pick them up accordingly. And so, that being said, with the interest that we have with time, I don't want to keep people longer because people are going on to their next call. So can we, if we have any additional events, send them by way to Juan so that we don't take up, like I said, because people are going to go on to their next calls that started at 3 o'clock. If we can add any additional events and send them that way, and especially if they're events that each of us already has, then obviously then that's who would be at the particular event. So we can get on to wrap up in the next meeting, because Heather, you wanted to go over action items and we're already 5 minutes over.
On it. I'm on it. I'm going to bump Juan if I can. I think I can. Haha. Thank you, Juan. Can you see my action items? Yes.
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 Okay. The first one, Jonathan, do you want to create it or do you want me to work on with our graphic designer to create the new boundary map concept with the QR code built in, and then we'll, between all of us, work to get it printed and laminated?
Yeah, you can, because this one is not pretty. I did it through Canva.
Okay. So I've got us both on there, but I'll just connect back to you for printing and laminating. We could probably do some of that too. SB, you got the contact, and you and I will just chat and stay in touch for the materials to showcase us. Also, your contact for the interview on Univision. Thanks for that.
Yes.
Jonathan will just connect find that good person with the city of Stockton, and maybe an email address so that we can drop it. Maybe it's the PIO, drop it into our contact group information, and it just becomes something we hit with information, but confirming that maybe they'll take our info and run with it. I'm going to find out about the Delta College sign and advertising there. SB is going to just one last time follow through on the Cal Water check to see if that is truly an opportunity or not. But just finish out that conversation. Leonard's going to send over the Ministry Alliance contact, and we'll get a district presentation set up with those folks. We will create a standard information gathering sheet, and we'll design something that we can share with all of you, so it's uniform across all events and outreach places y'all go, in case the QR code or the digital thing isn't working. And to the same point, we'll also check the ability of our new Gov delivery service to maybe use it for texting communication to the data that we're getting for the bodies in Stockton. Whew,
Thank you. Okay. Okay, and then for our next meeting, did you have some dates in mind? Because
SB, on that note, I think I wanted to pose a question to the group in regards to the frequency of the meeting. So I know we've been meeting on a monthly basis since the beginning of the meeting. But since there's a couple of you left, I don't know if maybe we should ask via email so we can get the entire group's feedback on it. So just wondering if you guys still want to keep it on a monthly basis, or if you guys have changed your mind to see what's working. So I'm just gonna pose that question via email and just get the feedback from the group on that, if that's fine.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Okay, so with that being said, and not to keep people, because we're already quite a few minutes over, and like you said, a lot of the group already had to go. So again, thank you everyone for joining us, and I think we're doing a great job in collaborating and getting our ideas down so that we can communicate to our community members, which is the most important component of this outreach committee. So again, thank you to all the community members and to the staff for, I think we're having doing a great job in collaborating.
Thank you,
Awesome.
SP.
Thank you so much, SP, for collating today, and thank you for the rest of the group. We're very excited about all of these plans, and hopefully we get, great things, together. So thank you very much.
Okay, have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy weekend.
Have fun
Bye.
at
Bye-bye.
Flavor Fest, Leonard.
Yes. And I'll connect with you, Leonard, to see if you need additional flyers. So
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was just saying, have fun tomorrow.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I
Bye-bye.
will.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.